Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another video on Kufr and Iman in the Quran. In the previous video, we described Kufr as the act of suppressing a thing known or believed to be true, and in this video, we are going to build more on that concept and examine it further in light of some Quranic verses. Commonly, it is held that the term disbelief or to disbelieve is correlated to the term Kufr in the Quran. However, this according to my understanding of the Quran is not the case. Kufr is typically juxtaposed with Iman in the Quran, and as we probably already know, Iman really doesn't translate to belief according to the Quran. There is a connection to it, but Iman is something else entirely. In my opinion, both terms are built upon a belief which someone has within themselves, and by this I mean that Kufr is also based on belief, just as Iman is based on belief of some sort. To explain this in some further detail, for someone to commit the act of Kufr, they must either believe or know that the thing against which they commit Kufr is in fact true. And for someone to commit the act of Iman, they must believe or know that the thing for which they commit the act of Iman is in fact true. But let us take a look at an example of this in the Quran. In chapter 49, verses 14 and 15, God states, "The Bedouin Arabs say, 'We have Iman.' Tell them, O Muhammad, nay, in fact, you do not have Iman, but rather you should say, 'We have accepted monotheism,' for Iman has not yet entered into your hearts. But if you are to comply with God and His Messenger, He will not diminish anything from your works at all, as assuredly, God is indeed forgiving, merciful." The Mu'minun are only those who had Iman in God and His Messenger, and then they did not doubt, and they strove with their wealth and their lives in the path of God. Such people are they who are the truthful. So, according to these two verses, these Bedouins would say that they had Iman, but yet God tells them that they in fact did not have Iman, for Iman had not entered into their hearts. However, they were recommended to say that they have Islam. So the question is, if Iman really meant to merely believe, then what does Islam imply? Does someone who has Islam not believe in God, the last day, the prophets, the angels, and the scriptures? Clearly, of course they do, however, that does not mean that they have Iman. So then what is it that these verses are trying to inform us? According to the verses, Iman would only enter these people's hearts if they obeyed God and His Messenger. We are told that, if they did obey God and His Messenger, then God would not reduce any of their works, which in turn means that obedience to or compliance with the Messenger is a deed, and it is exemplified through action. It is an action, rather than a mere belief that one has within their heart. So from this, we can say that Iman is in fact an action that one does to mirror the belief they hold within their hearts and minds. Similarly, in the following verse, we are told that the Mu'minun put their faith in God and His Messenger, and they strive with their wealth and their lives in the path of God. These people, according to this verse, are the ones who are true to their commitment. So, once again we see that Iman is in of itself a commitment that one shows through their actions to something known or believed to be true. Kufr would then be the opposite to this description, meaning it is non-committedness that one shows through their actions to something known or believed to be true. So for example, when someone does Kufr in God and the last day, it means that they believe or know that God and the last day are in fact true, but they do not act in accordance with that belief. It is basically a suppression of something known to be true. In the Quran, as I also said in the previous video, the Mu'minun are also told to do Kufr in certain things, here in particular, the Taghut, referring to the oppressive and transgressive ruling powers in a given society. Here, in this case, you know that these powers are oppressive and tyrannical, and so you act in opposition to them, i.e., you do Kufr in them, whereas the one who believes them to be true and still acts in accordance with them, does the act of Iman in them. We can look at another example, in chapter 4, verse 60, wherein we are told, "Hast thou, O Muhammad, not seen those who claim that they have Iman in that which has been sent down upon thee and that which was sent down before thee? They wish to differ judgment to the oppressive and transgressive ruling powers, when they were commanded to do Kufr in them, and the Satan intends to misguide them into far-off misguidance. In this verse, the mentioned people were commanded to do kufr in the Taghut, but they instead sought to differ judgment to them, and yet they claimed to have Imaan in that which was sent down upon the Prophet and that which was sent down before him. If they truly had Imaan, they would know that God would never approve of oppression or tyrannical rulers. They would know that God had commanded them to act in opposition to such rulers, i.e. to do kufr in them, and to not differ judgment to them or act in accordance with them. So to sum up this video, kufr within the Quranic context necessitates a belief in that thing in which you are doing kufr. A rejection or denial of it, however, would suit more the Quranic term takdhib, which we will explore in another video, God willing. This is also why the word kufr is also tied to the word ungrateful or unthankful or unappreciative. This is because, when someone has done something for you, and you do not thank them or show any form of appreciation, this is tied to being ungrateful. But why is this? Why do these terms share the same word in Arabic? This is because, when someone does something good for you, and you do not show any form of appreciation or even acknowledge that, it is a form of suppressing the reality of it. What is true remain as fact, namely that that person did something good for you, and when you then make the conscious decision to suppress that, or to not acknowledge that, you are doing the act of kufr, as you know the truth within your heart and yet you choose to not acknowledge it. You choose to suppress it. Thus, kufr is a conscious act, whereas disbelief might not necessarily be, which is why the Quran says, "Whoever wills, then let them have Imaan, and whoever wills, then let them do kufr." Thus, someone chooses to either act in accordance with the known belief, which is Imaan, or they choose to not act in accordance with the known belief, which is kufr. Hence why, in the verse we quoted earlier from Surat al-Hujurat, Imaan is encapsulated around complying with or obedience to God and the Messenger, meaning complying with the good things that He encourages us to do, and to stay away from the things which He encourages us to avoid. This commitment of course takes effort and sacrifice, and in certain circumstances, it even means having to strive with one's own life and wealth at stake for the sake of upholding the values of God.